all right. First of all, it was a good trip. Going after 2 days, that's a question I've been asked. People of Boise were very good to us, and that part of it is a good experience, good growing opportunity for our team. So very pleased with that. Very pleased with our alumni and family and friends that traveled with us. So that was a good experience. As far as the game's concerned, nothing but disappointment. I'd be remiss if you said anything different. Now, things that I was happy with was I thought we played hard on offensive defense. You give up 63 points, you wouldn't think that, but I thought we did. I thought we were very passive on special teams, and that's kind of where you get exposed a little bit sometimes in the difference in some spots of the athleticism, and we did on special teams wise, but offensive defense, I thought we played hard. Now things that we talked about that we wanted to do that we did not do was control the things we could control. But there's a lot of missed assignments, a lot of guys not doing their responsibility in the right gap on certain reads. Some busted coverages, run wrong routes, throw the ball into coverage, put the ball on the ground. Now, those are things that we could control. Now, their athleticism, their size, sometimes can make you do those things. But there were some things we could have controlled that we didn't do a very good job of. You go back and look the last 2 weeks, right now there's a turnover problem. We're very fortunate to be 1-1. And obviously Chattanooga turned out to be a very good team. You see what they did to Georgia State. So we got a good football team. Got to clean a lot of things up. Unfortunately, you don't have a whole lot of time to work on too many things. You got a great football team coming in this week.
You talked about Boise's athleticism and size can kind of force you into some extra mistakes. How much did that have to do with the turnovers you had? Was any of that really just kind of a little desperation trying to get back into a game?
Let's see. Dylan's fumble. He just it's big collision. The ball came out. One interception. Let's see. The first interception was on a post. Our receiver goes 2 more yards to draw the safety. We're able to throw the post over top of his head instead of having a double coverage. Those are something you wouldn't know unless you're watching the tape. Another post, maybe we lead him across the field, lead the receiver across the field instead of straightening him up a little bit. And their corner goes up, makes a big play. You got to try to bite and not let that ball be picked. Then one of the picks was tip ball. We threw it probably a foot too high. So he jumped, tipped it up, and that was one return for a score. So I wouldn't say so much there. I think inexperience is some things. When I think back to some of Carr's picks early in his career, a lot of it, you just rush things. The game at times is a little fast. I feel like it was a little fast for us at the quarterback spot, just rushing things. Which is, I'd be surprised if that wasn't happening right now, but obviously in that type of setting, you didn't need it to happen.
Just as far as going out to Boise and the overall experience, obviously the media presence is greater, the stadium's quite a bit bigger and everything like that. What sort of takeaways did you guys have from that? Anything significant?
It's funny you say that on the media though. It really, like after the game, there was a school reporter. I know Ryan was out.
Jordan.
There was like 3 people standing there.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't much different than ours.
Okay.
But we also were not Washington in there or whatever either. So it's a neat place. I've never been there. The neatest thing we did though was on Friday. Took the team up the mountain there. We stopped in Idaho City, and it's a town of about 300 people, and we kind of walked through the city, and the school officials asked us to bring the players we would to their school, which was a couple blocks over. We walked down there and they play 8-man football, and they were getting ready for their game that day, and took some time, and it was good to see our players visit with some different kids and stuff. So that was a positive.
You like high school kids?
Yeah, they're high school kids. They play 8-man football and they had their jerseys on. We're sitting in the gymnasium, and the kids that live on that mountain get bussed in, some of them 45 to an hour away. So everything was positive except for the ball got kicked off, or at least about 8 minutes into that first quarter.
Mm-hmm. I was looking a little bit at the Central Arkansas stats, especially from their first game. The quarterback was real efficient. I think 27 out of 31. You dealt with a lot of efficient quarterbacks, last year in the OVC. Right. Does he remind you of any of those guys, or?
Yeah, but he's so big and strong. He runs better than any of those guys, and that's the problem with defending him, is that he can make himself a pocket passer, but he's, but he runs the ball. you better know where he is at all times and take off in front. I mean, there are guys there. I just got through watching their game versus Ole Miss last year, and they got the lead at halftime in that game, and then they had the lead against Colorado, late in the third quarter. So they're outstanding football team. I mean, this is basically they're a playoff team. I mean, they're top. I don't know what the rankings were today, or whatever, but they were number 6 or 7 last week. So I'm sure they're probably higher this week. You'll kind of get a good measure stick of where, if the playoffs started today, where you would be. So we could have been home. We got to get better. It'd be a big challenge, but they're probably the best FCS team we played since I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
You just talk about finally being able to get home. Your schedule's been tough on the road, and even though Central Arkansas is a very formidable team, it's good to be home and try to, get behind your fans.
Well, it is, because you get a couple more days to prep. I mean, last week you leave and you go a day early on Thursday morning. So yeah, no matter, you can't ever simulate it in the hotel meeting rooms like you can on the practice field. So it's good to get on a normal schedule and sleep in our own beds and get an extra day of preparation on Friday compared to be traveling. So no, we're looking forward to that, and kind of getting a routine. Even though it gets broken up next week, we know with the open week, you kind of wish that was pushed down a little bit farther in the schedule, but you got no control over that. But no, it's good to get back to a little normalcy. And yeah, with our schedule, I mean, look at anybody in our conference. I don't think anybody's got, except maybe Austin Peay, obviously, with what they're playing. But Chattanooga and then Central Arkansas, 2 of your first 3 games, we knew this was going to be difficult, and you put Boise in there in the middle. So it's challenging, but we got to grow through it.
I know it's early in the week, but as far as Central Arkansas's defense, what should we expect to see from them?
They're very fast. They're big and strong. They play a lot of guys too. I mean, you can't on tape. I think they played 19, 20-some guys on the defensive side of the ball. So they're always staying fresh up front, fresh in the secondary. They've done a great job recruiting.
What formation they usually use?
They're 4-man front. They'll play. They'll mix in some odds, some 3 down, and some blitz packages and stuff. So you turn on their speed, their team speed against Colorado is what's very impressive. And that's Colorado's drug out the win there at the end. But if you just come and watch the tape without knowing the score, you'd be very impressed with Central Arkansas.
For your team, personnel-wise, through these first couple of weeks, you see any changes as far as the way you've done things?
Yes and no. I mean, we got what we got, and we've got some good players, but we're still finding our identity on offense, especially. We still are. As far as the quarterback situation, we got to go back to practice and see who will take care of the ball. I mean, at some point, you've got to say to the head coach, okay, if you can't take care of the ball, you can't play for us. It's not fair to the rest of the football team. But there we have, Najee Ray got in the game this week and made some things happen. Boo got in the game, and so those guys have got some ability. We've got to figure out a way to get them all on the field together. We've got to get some other receivers involved besides just Butler, and it's not necessarily the other receivers' fault. They're not getting the ball. It's just the way things have been designed the last couple of weeks. But we got to start doing that. We got to start pushing the ball down the field a little bit more. Now we took some shots the other night and they got picked off, and you get concerned and you come back to a little bit more higher percentage throws. But we've got to be able to get some formations and force some runs to get the 1 high safety instead of always having 2 high safeties. And against Chattanooga it was fine, right? Because we were being efficient and 2 high safeties, and we were getting 7-yard, 8-yard, 19-yard runs. But we started getting them squeezed down to 3- and 4-yard runs, and they're still able to play 2 high safeties on you. That becomes a problem.
Do you have an idea at this point in the week who might what the playing time might go between Favre and
no, I don't.
Neal?
As we keep putting the game plan together, between today and tonight and tomorrow, you would hope by the middle of the week, you go in a direction. But they'll both play again. Neither one of them played, bad enough to be put on the shelf, and neither one played good enough to be able to say, I'm the starter, and I don't see that right this week.
What about Tyler Rice? What's the latest?
Rice is hanging around and still getting some reps in practice. It's just hard to get 3 guys. It's very difficult. So, but no, he's still there in the mix.
Is he fully healthy?
Yeah.
Okay. how many, the points you gave up at Boise notwithstanding, how would you assess just the defense's overall play?
At times good, guys. At times very good. I mean, Tony Bell, Tony Bell. I'm very up to this point been pleased with our defensive line, and for the most part with with our linebackers. And those, we didn't have good fits this week at our linebacker position, so it was allowing some runs to get out of there that shouldn't have been getting out for any positive yards. Linebackers should be in this A gap, and they were in this A gap with some split flow action. So that was disappointing. Our corners take a lot of, we give it 5 touchdown passes. We ended up 8 in 2 games. I mean, I see the stats there, but one time it was, it looks like it was our corner's fault, but it was a safety. They had a communication problem, and the 2 receiver went out, and the 1 receiver went vertical. The safety didn't get over the top of it, but you see the corner chasing it, and it looks like it was his guy, but it's not. It was the safety's. And then another time, same deal. They ran a little pick route on us. We didn't trade it off correctly. It was a safety. He was supposed to be coming over the top, but he didn't, and that one looks like it's the corner's fault. Okay, so there's 2 of those that goes back to things that we have to control. Is communication, to be able to execute. They're going to run past us sometimes. That just happens. But you can't just let a guy run free down the sideline. You still got to make them throw and make them catch.
What's the challenge to your defense, given the kind of team that UCA is going into this week?
The quarterback can run, so that's a problem. So you got to always know where he is. They've got a couple wideouts that are really explosive and a big, long tight end. Okay, so they got several guys they can throw the ball to, and they're good up front. So it's once again, it's pick your poison. You're going to run the football on you, and they want to spread you out. I mean, they do a good job with that. You load the box too much, and you cut those receivers loose this week with a little motion or tight splits, and you don't communicate good, then you're going to have the same issues you had at Boise. All right, but just like always, I mean, we're going to stop the run. We're going to make it throw it to beat us, but we've got to execute some assignments to make sure that give ourselves a chance.
Again, similarly, what's your challenge to the offense? What's your challenge?
It's to be we got to create some big plays. Okay, I mean, 13-play drive. I mean, that was good the other day. I mean, I was very pleased with that. But we've got to get chunks of yards. Okay, you can't live by those 13-play drives. That's not realistically going to happen. But that's the main thing. I want to create some more explosive plays and quit turning the ball over. I mean, you always got a million things you wish for, right? You want to be able to get 5 yards of rush and all that. But I mean, don't turn the ball over and create some more explosive plays, and then you'll give yourself a chance.
Looking at the team as a whole, just sort of like mentally, emotionally, how would you assess where they are at this point?
Yeah, everybody was embarrassed the other night. I mean, I would be disappointed if we were just happy to be there. When the kids come in and watch the tape today, they're going to see the things that help cause that 63 points, or help cause only the 14 points. And you're going to see some things that might could have swayed things 3 to 4 touchdowns different if you just do the same things you've done since day 1 of camp, and for whatever reason you didn't get it done on that Saturday. And we got to coach it better too. It's not all the kids. I mean, as a coach, you have to look in the mirror and say, why did my player do this? As a head coach, why did my coaches get this coached and get this corrected? I mean, there's plenty of blame to go around, and I'm the head coach, so I should receive most of it.
Last year you were in a similar position at about week 3 where you were kind of waiting for the offense to really take off. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that you do have the type of playmakers, though, that can make that transition to?
I don't know. That's a good question. We were talking about that today. We still haven't got used yet not having Quentin Sims. And although Jeremy Butler's an outstanding player, you figure last year you got Quentin Sims on one side and Jeremy on the other side. And we haven't quite. That's why I said we're still finding ourselves a little bit. Even though you had a lot of yards against Chattanooga, and you had a decent amount respectable about this past week, we're still, and that's on me as the offensive coordinator, play caller, still trying to find out what we are. The difference was last year that how the schedule was set up was that it was a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. Obviously, let's face it. So you're able to get well as you were putting pieces together as you marched on in the season. These first 3 games now. There's no time for mistakes.
I'm sure you've challenged all your receivers to kind of step up and join Butler as that go-to guy.
Right.
Is there one that you think is a little bit farther along than the others outside of Butler?
Well, Dylan Davis made a ton of plays in fall camp, and he has not had a whole lot of opportunities, and that goes back to schematically finding him ways to get him the ball. Chris Thompson's an experienced guy, has been here, and he's made, he made 5 catches the other, against Chattanooga, but only had 1 the other night. So it's a combination of things. Sometimes this ball, however it's worked out, doesn't come your way. It's just how it happens. There's a couple times guys are open, we have pressure in our face, and got to step to the right. You miss that open receiver on the left, especially with Dylan. Dylan and Jared's size now. Neither one of them are, are 6'2". I mean, they're not. So sometimes we have to move in the pocket to see things, and that can create some, that can cause you some vision problems as well.
Kind of going ahead, these OVC teams are going to scout you, and they're going to, obviously, sort of know what your all strengths are. Jeremy kind of moving into that that #1 guy. How prepared is he for when he starts getting the attention that maybe Quentin got last year?
He'll be fine. We move him around quite a bit, and his expectations are he'd like to catch 20 balls a game. If we could get it to him every time, we certainly would. But they're two different players. Jeremy's more of a physical guy. You're going to hand him. You just want the ball in his hand because he can break a tackle or two. Where Quentin was, a little bit more polished. He was a little bit more of a route runner, so they complemented each other well. We got to continue to find somebody to complement, Jeremy, like we alluded to.
The help in the backfield has kind of stabilized your offense in a way where you have the out with Dylan and Jared that you can give it off to DJ, and he'll consistently give you 20 carries a game and plenty of yards. Same with Garland, he gives you that kind of change of pace, that option slot type player as well. So the backfield has very much helped you. Do you feel like that will only improve, and it kind of takes a little bit of pressure off your wideouts?
Yeah, it does. And that's what we're talking about today. The backfield has been a pleasant surprise. Okay, because after graduation, that position was hurting, and then then Garland got better. Then Najee got better. He got to play this past week, and then you add Abu in there. Then you're able to get the Devin Fair back. So you got some guys that are going to play throughout the year, and we got to figure out. But there's only one ball, so right now they have to block for each other. And so we're trying to come up with different ways to get them on the field together and create some not a whole new offense, but stay within parameters of what you do. But they're pretty talented, so it's none of them are probably 30 carry back guys. I mean, DJ probably could, but the rest of them aren't that kind of guy yet. As far as being able to pick those other things happen besides just when you get the ball. You got to run a route, you got to pick up the pass protection. There's different things that happen in the line of scrimmage, and so none of them are ready to play consistently. 50 snaps a game yet. So that's the challenge: is how do you get 2 of them on the field together when really only one of them, is a seasoned guy, and that's DJ.
And last year you went 3 deep with Tevin and Jason and DJ. You're starting to see Abu kind of get the confidence back after week 1, and he had a solid game in his opportunities on Saturday.
No, Boo's a big guy. He gets downhill. He had the fumble against Chattanooga, and we gave Trent a chance, and then he did well. But Boo's going to be going to carry a share of this offense. He will. You got to keep got to substitute a little bit better. Sometimes when you're playing fast, right, that back gets left out there and you can't make transition, get the other guy out there. We've got to do a better job of making that substitution when you're on those 12, 13-play drives and getting that pressure back out there.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Is that good? Appreciate it, man. Thanks.